The thoughts, views, and comments expressed on this show are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production of Glory 93.9 FM.
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women. Wardrobe provided by Bahari Bahamas. Visit shopbahari.com. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today on Mindset Monday, we're going to be looking at a topic that really nowadays is so much needed, because with the turmoil that is happening around the world right now, people can tend to get so caught up in everything that's going on around them that they could possibly neglect the most important relationship in their lives, apart from the relationship with the Creator, that is, the second most important relationship in their lives. And that is the relationship with themselves. A lot of people have lost themselves in this whole process of what we see happening in our world today because they have forgotten to love the most important person in their lives, and that's themselves. Now, I know when you hear this, it could sound very narcissistic. And some may argue, well, Michelle, that's the problem in the world today. We got too many people who love themselves too much at the expense of other people. That's not the kind of love that we're talking about today. We're talking about loving yourself on a deep level so that you, in turn, can spread that love to others. Because quite frankly, if you don't love yourself first, then you're going to have a hard time loving other people. So the person who is joining us today is no stranger to GPS. She's been on the show before, and I'd like to welcome her back. She is the one and only Limitless life coach, Simone Bowe, who has written a book and recently published called Me First. And when I saw the book, I said, oh, I have to get Simone back on the show because this is such an important topic to discuss. Simone, always good to see your beautiful face. Welcome back to GPS.
Always, always. Thank you so much, Michelle.
All right. So you have decided to put pen to paper. I know you've been coaching people for a long time, and you decided to put this on paper and publish a book that, quite frankly, I think is a brilliant idea because it would live long beyond your walk here on Earth. So tell us why it was important for you to pen Me First.
Well, the inspiration really came from another coach friend of mine who asked me to do a live in her Facebook group. on 5 ways to deeply love yourself. And it caused me to really search. Because sometimes you don't really think about it. Or you equate self-care to self-love. And we've had a great push for in particular women to go to the spa, for me time, make sure they're getting their hair done, nails done, pampering themselves, and we kind of equate that to self-love. But that question challenged me to really think about how do we love ourselves, and how do we really think about digging deeper than just the surface care of our bodies and our minds.
Our Facebook, 1 second, Simone. Our Facebook audience is saying that they're getting a lot of feedback, guys.
I am as well.
She is as well. So let's look at that. I know when we had a problem with this last week, we didn't hear it on our end, but when I watched the show back later, I realized that there was some feedback. So we got to figure out what's causing that.
Yeah, okay, I was trying to talk my way through it.
Yeah, sorry to have interrupted you. So we're going to work on that to try to figure out, because we're not hearing it on our end at all.
Wow.
But I did realize after I watched the show back with Loretta Butler-Turner last week that I actually could hear it on the recording, on the Facebook recording. So let's work on that, guys, to see if we can figure out what is causing that. Okay, so in the meantime, let's continue. It says you need to turn off your radio, but is your radio even on? You're not playing anything in the background, are you?
No, I have nothing on.
Yeah, she's not playing anything in the background. So we have to figure that out, guys. All right? So our technicians are going to work on that to see what's happening there. All right. So, okay. So you're telling me that pampering yourself is not the same as loving yourself? I think people are confused now.
Well, it's an extension of loving yourself. Because of course, when you do love yourself and you value who you are and your well-being, you're going to do certain things to take care of yourself. But that's not the only way. And oftentimes we find ourselves dolled up, but still broken on the inside.
Wow. Could it be that some people use the pampering as a way to try to fix what's broken, to make them feel better without really doing the work of identifying what the real problem is and tackling that? Could that be a part of the problem? Yeah,
it is. And sometimes we can use self-care as an escape from the things that we really need to face. And so sometimes well, let me go to the first way that you can love yourself that I talk about in the book. The first two, actually, because you hit it and you said doing the work. So the first thing is to spend time with yourself. I'm not necessarily talking about just time by yourself, time by yourself in the spa, all of these things that we do. And I'm not discounting any of those things either, right? So I just want to keep that in the right perspective. But when we talk about, okay, the echo is gone. Just to let you know, the echo is gone.
Okay, good.
All right. So when we spend time with ourselves, what are we talking about here? So the me time is very important. Okay. We get caught up in being busy. And busyness can also be a coping mechanism that we use to hide from the deep work that we need to do on ourselves, the issues that we may be facing internally that we may not want to face. And so we pack our lives with activity. And we busy ourselves to the point that we are totally drained and exhausted, that all we could do is flop into bed at night.
You ain't got time to think about the things that are deep in, you might be matching corn here, Simone.
Listen, I'm matching my own corns.
This is deep stuff.
It is.
So in other words, you keep yourself so busy that you don't have time to really pay attention to the wounds.
Exactly. Because the wounds are painful. We won't have to lie about this. The wounds are painful. It hurts to face yourself. It hurts to look at areas of your life that you're not satisfied with. It hurts, you know? And so, what do we do to avoid that? We get extremely busy. And guess what? We busy ourselves doing things that are very noble and could be very satisfying, right? How many of us consume ourselves with, for instance, church attendance? And who could tell you that church attendance is bad? Right? That's good. I mean, I'm serving God. But when we do that to the expense of our personal well-being, the well-being of the people in our lives that we love, even God, because sometimes you could be so busy in church that you don't have time for Him.
Wow.
Who you say you love so much.
My Lord.
So
That's deep.
spending, I'm telling you, this thing is so serious. And when I really started to think about it, you know, this spending time with yourself is critical, because now you have to ask yourself, you know, what do I want? What are my deepest motivations? What do I want my life to really be about? And that's why I would say to people, I don't know if I believe in this thing that we call midlife crisis. I think it's just a point where people get like, enough is enough, and I am just going to live my truth. And it may look weird and it may look completely off the wall, but I am just going to do me, because I am tired of living this fake life that I've lived all along, making everybody else in my life happy except me.
So, you know, this is earth-shattering, mind-blowing, because we tend to look at people who self-medicate with drugs or alcohol and say, oh, they're just doing that to, you know, to numb the pain. Meanwhile, you're killing yourself working for the same reason, but not making the connection. So I think you mashed plenty corn this morning.
Yes.
Yes.
And emotional eating.
Well, yes. Yeah.
Emotional eating, sex, even working out, like excessively, like just being, I think, overboard in a lot of things. When we get out of balance, that's when we see there's a trigger here. Something is happening here that we need to dial this back, and we need to figure out exactly what's going on with us.
So when you decide that you're going to, you know, face the demons and you're going to spend time with yourself to do the work, what kind of things are you supposed to be looking for while you're spending this time with yourself? How do you know that you're not just killing time or wasting time, but you're actually making progress by spending this time with yourself? What do I do while I'm spending that time to try to make this worth my while?
Well, the time really should be in self-reflection. And so when you spend this time with yourself, it's either in meditation. That can be guided meditation where, you know, you hear someone speaking you through exercises and things that you do as you still yourself and follow that through. And sometimes when you just still, you now capture the things that come to mind. So frivolous things will come to mind. You'll be worrying about things that you have to do at work or things you have to do around the house. Like all sorts of things will come into your mind. When you ride through that, other things are going to come up that you would want to pay attention to. And it's not always bad things either. Sometimes it's for me, sometimes it's ideas, creative ideas, inspiration, right? And so these are things that you would want to capture. Now, for me, I love journaling. And I think journaling is a very powerful tool that we can have in our lives, because we want to have a way to capture what comes up so that we can process it and track it. So when, you know, people like to say, I like to write down the dreams that I've had. Some people like to write down prophetic words that they've had. People like to write down dreams, desires, goals. It's important to write all of these things so that you can go back and now sift through it. My journal used to be my lifeline, especially when my life was dark and bleak and I didn't understand the unhappiness and the pain that I was experiencing. But when I would write it down, I would completely honest with myself. You
Wow.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's powerful. Okay, so why do you believe, apart from the obvious answer of being afraid to feel the pain, why do you believe, or why do you believe people? Do you believe people are so uncomfortable with finding out who they are truly, and this is what stops people from taking this journey? Do you think people are afraid of really, really looking in the mirror?
Yeah, and I think for a couple of reasons. I think first of all, we are wired, our brains are wired for comfort, believe it or not. Right? So this is like the push and the pull of our humanity.
Hmm.
We are wired for comfort. So the minute, and you notice this every time you try to change a habit, you know this, right? With the whole wellness
Yeah, your
journey.
mind works against you. It actually
Yeah,
does.
it
Yeah,
does. So
I
the
learned
minute
that
you
in the
try to
course.
change, yeah, when you try to change something that you've been consistently doing, your mind is your biggest resistor.
Not your friend. Yeah, I was surprised to learn that as well. A part of the Institute of Holistic Health, through which I was trained as a certified health coach. One of the units was on mindset, and one of the things that we learned is that your mind is not your friend because it is all about self-preservation.
Mhm.
And any change that you decide to make, good or bad, it sees as a threat.
Yeah.
And so, because it's all about staying in your comfort zone, because if you venture outside of this comfort zone, then maybe there'll be something uncomfortable out there that'll hurt you. And so
Right.
just stay here. Don't go out there. And so
Right.
when you make a decision that you're going to try to do something, even if it's something wonderful, but new, your mind is working against you to do that. If you don't know this, you will talk yourself out of doing wonderful things because of that subconscious mind that's afraid to face the unknown. It's amazing. And this is why they say people stay in abusive relationships,
Mhm.
because they figure this is bad, but what I don't know out there could be worse.
Mhm.
So I'm going to deal with the bad as
Mhm.
opposed to taking a chance of facing the unknown. That's really powerful.
It is. It is. And that's where we get that expression, better the devil you know,
Mm.
right? Than the one you don't know. I can, and this is the funny thing about us as humans, that even in our discomfort, we can create comfort around it.
My God. Ooh, that's deep, girl. Say that again. Say that again. People need to hear that.
I'm telling you, even in our discomfort, we create comfort around it.
Mm.
So we learn it, we study it, and then we find ways to cope with it.
Wow.
I think it was Les Brown, maybe tell this story before, of this man. It's, I guess, just a parable, a teaching moment, right? But this man that was walking through his neighborhood, and he passed this house where this gentleman was on the porch, sitting on the porch, and his dog was next to him on the porch howling.
Mhm.
And he walked by and he said, "Okay, this is strange. Why is this dog laying here on the porch howling away and not moving?"
Right.
And he walked by about 2 or 3 days, and it was the same thing, the same thing. And when he went back, he said, "I'm going to ask this man, what is up with this dog? Because every time I pass here, it's doing the same thing."
Mhm.
And when he passed the next time, he asked the gentleman, he said, "Excuse me," he said, "why is your dog just laying there howling? I've been passing here for days. I'm trying to figure out what's going on." And the man said, "Oh, him? He's laying on a nail, and it's hurting him enough to make him moan, but not enough to make him move."
Oh, man.
Isn't that powerful?
Yeah, 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 yes. How many of us are sitting on a nail that is uncomfortable enough for us to feel the pain, but not uncomfortable enough for us to get up and move away from that pain?
And we see it in all aspects of our lives, Michelle. I'm a human resource professional, and you will hear things in organizations where there is low morale, people are disgruntled, people will flat out hate their organization, and you would ask yourself internally, right? Why don't you just leave? Why don't you leave this place that you hate so much? You hate the organization, you hate the people, you hate your work. Why are you staying here? It is easier for them to complain and make noise than it is for them to move on to something else. Better the devil they know. I know this place. I understand. I know my boss ways. I know which mornings to avoid him or her. I know how they like things. I know how they don't like things. So I've just studied this place and I know how to cope in this place. I hate this place, but I ain't going nowhere.
Because I know
sure about this salary and I don't know what out there. And what? Then this COVID too? Child, please. I got to keep this salary. It's a sure salary right here. We do it in every aspect of our lives. As you mentioned, we do it in relationships. I talked about this in the book. I was in a very unhappy marriage, and that's what really started this journey for me. This was my own journey of self-discovery. What is going on with me? You know, and when I went to counseling, my counselor laughed at me afterwards, you know, because he said, when he asked the question, why are you here? Why did you come for counseling? And I told him, I came for me. I didn't come for my marriage. I came for me. And he laughed because I need to figure me out. I need to understand what is going on here. What is causing me to make the decisions that I'm making, the decision to stay, as you mentioned, in very difficult situations, things that were impacting my mental and emotional well-being, things that took me years to get over. You know, why do you stay? It's really not that easy. And so out of having that experience, it made me realize that I have to be more compassionate with people. I can't judge somebody that stays. I left, but I left under huge criticism and huge personal losses, fear, doubt, everything, hope, lost hopes and dreams. Nobody enters a marriage to lose it. Everyone thinks that you're going to have that happily ever after fairy tale, but it doesn't happen. And I used to be that person that used to pray those prayers, you know, when you're in the church and they say, well, the only way that you could get out of a marriage is death or infidelity. And I used to pray those prayers. I used to say, Lord, kill him. That was bad. That was bad. You know, but I'm just being real, right? When it really came down to me understanding who I was and having to make some difficult decisions. And this is the second reason why it's difficult for people to face their truth, because of the decisions that they may have to make as a result of that truth. And so I remember listening to a teaching, I think it was by Bob Proctor, you know, one of the personal development gurus out there. He had something on decisions, making decisions. And he said something that was so profound. And I said, you know what, this is true. We don't struggle with making decisions, you know. We struggle with making the decision that we know we have to make that we don't want to make. So we know sometimes that something is over, whatever that is. Seasons end. And we get emotionally attached to things. We make our attachment to things a habit. I remember asking someone that I felt that, you know, very much in love with before, like, do we really love each other or are we a habit? Are we just like a habit? Like, we're just used to each other. Sometimes you're just with somebody for so long that it's just, this is all I know.
Wow.
And it doesn't matter that it may be unfulfilling, or it may not be the right situation or anything like that, but is this a habit? Is this love? What is this attachment? And again, this is why it's important to spend the time with yourself so that you could dig into the truth and really analyze it. And sometimes you might be wrong. It may not be, it may be good, but it may be something else that you have to work on. But You got to spend that time in solitude to really get to the core of your being, what you want, how you want to show up in the world, what you want your relationships to be like, what you want your career to be like, what you want your life to be like.
Wow, Simone, this is so powerful. Wow. We have to take a commercial break, but you touched on something a moment ago. And guys, if you haven't already done so, like and share the show. Please, people need to hear this, because if we was talking politics today, yeah, y'all would have shared us a million times. But this is even more important, because we see so many people who are really, I call it the walking wounded, and hurting people hurt people. And I think this is one of the reasons why we have so much darkness today, because people have been hurt and they're hurting others.
And we don't know how to have the good thing. Shani says it, the fear of being well scares most, because they've been unwell for so long. And that's why when you get into healthy relationships, and I'm talking healthy friendships, healthy romantic relationships, a healthy job, you don't even know how to handle it. You don't know how to receive it. You self-sabotage.
Yeah. Listen,
you destroy it.
We got to take our first break. But we're going to dive deeper into this, because something you touched on when you talked about having compassion for others. But oftentimes we see where people have all the compassion in the world for others, but not for themselves. So let's talk about that on the other side of the break. Stay with us, y'all. This is GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Located on Carmichael Road, Divine Designs Hair Boutique is a haven for women and men looking for professional beauty services. Our state-of-the-art and contemporary equipment creates a relaxing ambiance for you to enjoy while we cater to you. Need a hairstylist? We cater to all types and textures of hair for care and styling. We even have a barber on duty. Need a nail tech? Our technicians provide a range of nail services, including the latest trends. Unwind in one of our massage chairs while you get your pedicure. With our reasonable rates, friendly staff, and over 20 years of experience, you will be in great hands. Call us at 823-1669 or 698-1025 to schedule your appointment. Want to be pampered? Want to be slayed? Let Divine Designs make your day.
Boy, 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 here calamity. Boy, 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 don't want that be me. Let me get this coverage, do it once and for all. Insurance management is who I gonna call.
When calamity strikes, we're here to keep you safe and secure. With offices in Nassau, Freeport, Abacoa, Lutheran, and Exuma. Insurance management, we cover the Bahamas.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients. So so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and my guest today is the Limitless Life Coach, Simone Bowe. We're talking about Me First. That's the title of a new book she has written, all about deeply loving yourself. And that's what we're talking about today. And this is so needed, y'all, because this world, oh my goodness, I don't have to tell you what a messed up place this is. And a lot of it is because people have been hurt deeply and don't know how to cope. And so instead of doing the work and trying to figure out how to fix that hurt, they lash out at everybody else around them and make everybody else's life miserable because their lives are miserable. And so we're talking about today what you should do, what you can do, what you need to do to bring about that healing to your soul. By loving yourself first, me first, put yourself first. You know, if you go on an airplane, they always do the talk about what would happen in the case of an emergency. And they always say that for adults traveling with children, if there's a need for oxygen, put on your oxygen mask first and then put it on the child. Now, you may be listening to that and saying, oh my God, that's a terrible thing to say. Why would you not take care of the child first? Their whole life is ahead of it. Well, if you incapacitated, then who can help the child? And I think we make the mistake all the time of putting everybody ahead of ourselves. Many people do, but anyway, not everyone. Putting everybody's needs ahead of your own. And at the end of the day, you are so drained and worn out because you did not put anything into yourself. And, this isn't just to regular folk, but people who are doing a good work. Let's look at pastors, for instance, doing a good work, trying to pour everything that they have into their congregation and their flock. And at the end of the day, they burned out because they didn't have the time to put back into themselves. So how important is it, Simone, that when we're talking about having compassion for others, we don't forget to put ourselves on the list? Are you muted? You're muted. There you go.
Sorry about that. So, and I think that is definitely, it's a misconception, especially people who are in helping professions. And you mentioned pastors. So people like pastors, teachers, caregivers, people in the medical profession, coaches, people in nonprofits, and you normally find people in these areas find themselves depleted, burnt out, frustrated, exhausted, drained, and you wonder why sometimes people just walk away. They just simply walk away. Remember I talked about that midlife crisis before? But it's just that they've got to their limit, their personal capacity of, I can't do this anymore. We're living out of balance because we feel that this compassion for others, which is very important. We have to care about other people. We have to reach outside of ourselves. Our purpose is about service and serving others, but we cannot do it to the detriment of ourselves.
Yeah.
We cannot pour from an empty cup. We can't. It will cause us to hate the very people that we said that we've come to serve.
God. That is important. We have our first caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Thank you for welcoming me, Berenice Johnson, the original. Miss Malcolm and Miss Simone Bowe. Good day to you all.
Good day.
I am very concerned. Okay, I hope you will shed light because I hope all of the social media listeners. See, when I spoke about the eugenic experimentations, that were happening in the Bahamas. Nobody believed me. They would love to put straitjacket on individuals. See, I speak truth. And I am one who, and I spoke with one of your, Miss Simone Bowe, Mr. Hubert Edwards, when you were part of that team down at, what's the place? It's a place, right?
Breezes, yes.
Psychoanalysis. It was founded by Sigmund Freud. But how do we, as human beings, I am one who believes and know a risen Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, accessing God, enveloping the Holy Spirit. Now, here is the situation now that is at hand that has to be addressed. Now, I love me, but I am one who is based on biblical principles. Do unto others as you would so have them do unto you. Now, a show earlier, with Mr. Francis, there has been a monopoly or on control of people's minds through psychology, and there are other ways and means, because there's a publication I asked Mr. Edwards to also, when I call upon him to assist with the biblical established new knowledge in causing our people to understand that many things that you see go wrong in their lives, it is properly orchestrated.
So, Veronique,
okay,
I need you to bring it home now. Bring the question to us.
I am bringing it home.
Okay.
So here it is. You say it is not about politics. Everything is about politics, even from the religion. Okay? Everything has to be on a point where pursuant of excellence for others. Once you have come into that purpose that God has placed upon your life, you can help others. And any time when you are trying to help others, and you have individuals who would intentionally and maliciously try to steal other people's ideas, other people's property, and other people's monies, that is what was confessed to Mr. Hubert Edwards, and they remove him off the airwaves.
So what is the question that you have for Simone? What is the question?
The question is, individuals who intentionally try to prohibit, especially leaders like my mortal boss, former Prime Minister Hubert Alexander Ingram, from doing national good through, I would say, malicious, intentional, attempted incrimination and murder on his life. How do you answer that? I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Bye.
Yeah. Okay. That was a little convoluted. I don't know, if you can.
Yeah, no, I didn't get where, I understand, I think, to an extent where she's coming from, but I don't know how it speaks to what we're talking about today.
We're trying to
essentially.
stay focused.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's get back on track. Yeah, let's get back on track. Okay, so we were talking about the importance of having compassion for yourself. I don't know if this is the same person, but let's see. It's another call coming in. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Different person, and I'm calling on topic today.
Okay, good.
Morning to you, Michelle and Miss Bowe. How you all doing?
I'm great.
Thank you.
All right. As I listened, a number of things came to mind. First of all, God himself says to us human beings, love your neighbor as
yourself. That's right.
Yeah. A lot of us really and truly cannot connect with other people or relate to other people because we don't really know us. And I found that to be extremely far-fetched years ago before it hit me. In the last 20 years or so, I would have met several females within that period of time in a romantic context. And I would ask them one simple question. Tell me 3 things about you that you like or don't like. Mm-hmm. Those women, and each of them could not give me 3 things in either of those categories that they liked or disliked about themselves. And when I kept on persisting to know those things, they got upset with me. Now, I didn't persist because I wanted to offend them or to rub them the wrong way. But if I'm going to be connected to a woman emotionally, I definitely have to be connected to her psychologically. On a mental level, I need to know that she knows who she is. I need her to know that I know who I am. And I need us both to be relaxed in that the good things about me and the bad things about me she can accept, and likewise me about her. Because when people do not connect with who they are, they will never honestly be able to stick and to stay in anything called a relationship, because it's hard to relate to other people when you don't know yourself. What do you all say about that?
Listen, I feel like giving you an offering.
I have one. Okay. Now, allow me, Michelle, just to make one last comment, then I'll hang up and let Ms. Bowe respond, if I may. If you may, sir. Yeah. And that is simply this. When it comes to love, you know, I met a couple this weekend. Several times I met them in the past, but I met them again this weekend. They've been married now for 65 years. And I am sure not every day or every month or every year of that 65 was a positive or good or one that went without argument. What I'm saying is simply this. When it comes right down to love, a lot of us put the emphasis on the emotion, but a lot of us do not put the emphasis on what I call the integrity of the commitment. Doing it because it is what is required and because what is necessary to do. If I say I love a woman, I must, first of all, in order to be able to live with her, I must be able to accept within me her faults and her good points. She must be able to accept my faults and my good points. And then we sit down as mature and respectful adults and we discuss those issues that tend to be a problem so that we could at least get them out in the open so that they won't be, you know, dirt swept under the carpet, so to speak, not being dealt with. And I find that is far too often the case in this country, that a lot of people, they rather run away from a problem than to face it, to discuss it, to deal with it, and to resolve it. I'll hang up on that note and listen. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much for calling. Simone?
Thank you so much, caller. I am just so elated by your call and your comments for a number of reasons. A lot of people that know me know that I have a platform for men called Men Speak, for men to share exactly those things. It's given me such a deeper appreciation of men and their thoughts and what's out there. Because a lot of times, if you listen to a lot of women, people will say, and I think the echo is back. There's an echo again.
Okay.
It's not as bad as the first time, but it is back.
My producer's away from his desk, so as soon as he gets back to his desk, he'll work on that. But go ahead with the point you were making.
Yes. So I think the first thing that I want to point out is that caller represents so many men out there, that people feel that we don't have men that think that way, and that men that think that way are rarities, right? But I've encountered a lot of men that want more than just what people would say the externals, right? A well-kept woman, the woman who makes self-care her priority. So hair is great, nails are great, body may be great, great career, making strides. She may have her own, you know, I got my house, I got my own stuff, I don't need you, this and that, whatever, that independent, progressive woman. But remember what I talked about at the very beginning of the show. When we focus on the externals and we do not pay attention to the internal, and what that gentleman is talking about is the internal work that we need to do. The self-awareness, which is a component of emotional intelligence. We need to know ourselves. And a lot of this is not all our fault. As you talked about, we've been wounded. Many of us go through childhood trauma that impacts us in so many different ways. It stunts our emotional growth. It gives us triggers that we may not consciously understand. And it causes us now to not be able to relate effectively to other people. So it takes us right back to loving ourselves. So when we love ourselves and we spend time with ourselves in self-reflection, I can now answer these questions. I'm not intimidated by a man that also has a list. Women think that only us could have lists. And this man needs to be all of these things from A to Z. Men have lists too. And men want a woman that they can talk with, that they can relate with, that they can share goals with, that they can do life with. I can't tell you the amount of people who, and then we are socialized. Let me get back to the point that I was making. We are socialized as both men and women. But for women, we're socialized to desire our wedding day.
Yes, this is true. A lot of females, like you socialize, you're right, grow up dreaming about what that wedding day will be like and not dreaming about what the marriage will be like. Because it's all about the day.
It's all about the day, and this is my day.
And now you got to face reality that you got to live with this human being who has their own history for the rest of, well, ideally for the rest of your lives.
But these are conversations you should have even before that day.
Yeah.
That day is only a physical confirmation of the fact that I have met and committed to love this person unconditionally. That's what he talked about. Being able to love someone's flaws and their strengths. That's unconditional. How can you then love others when you don't know, you can't embrace your own flaws?
Well, you know what? That is such an important point, because a lot of, I remember having a conversation with someone once who was very unhappy that they weren't able to lock down a strong relationship and all this kind of stuff. And I asked them a question. I said, I want you to think about what I'm about to ask you, and I want you to answer this question honestly. If you were someone else, would you marry you?
Hey.
See, and this isn't a show about marriage, people, just for the record. We're talking about self-love here. But the important thing is this. We, like you say, we have this list that we want, but we ain't working on ourselves. And so you got this long laundry list of what this perfect person is supposed to be like, but you come in with all kind of baggage. And if you are not willing to do the work on yourself, why would you subject that other person to you?
Why?
Let's be real now.
And it's the fallacy of the fairy tale.
But you have to be honest with yourself in order to come to that realization. If your answer is still going to be, yes, I would marry me, even though you know you're miserable, you ain't being honest with yourself. Would you agree?
I totally agree with you. And that's why I said it's the fallacy of the fairy tale, because the fairy tale gives this impression that you need to find someone who is so equipped and capable to wipe away all your problems. And I'm going to write about this next, Michelle. Because if you break down most fairy tales, when you think about it, right? The heroine, the princess, has a problem, always has a problem that she can't solve by herself.
My God, she needs to be
rescued.
rescued.
Notice that? She has to be rescued. It's now that's one thing I think the previous caller probably was trying to say, that there's a psychology that's happening. And so we have to be careful of the stories, the narratives that we take on, because these things have fueled us for so much of our lives. So she has a problem that she cannot fix. If you look at the male figures in them, the prince that comes to rescue her is the perfect person. The knight in shining armor, who has everything. He takes her away to his kingdom, and they live happily ever after. But let's look at the other male figure that sometimes we don't think about. Her father. How's the father normally portrayed? someone who is voiceless. That's right. See, you turn your head thinking like,
because I can't even remember any fathers being in those stories.
Bing.
Wow.
Now, fathers are there, but they make them feel inept. They make them appear inept. Have you noticed that? When you think of the Cinderella story, he marries again, but he's totally oblivious to the new wife.
Yes.
Always appears to be wicked, right? Is always somebody, right? Who's jealous of the daughter and all of that stuff. And of course, these things make for a great story, but these are the stories that we tell our children. And I'm not saying to do away with fairy tales, but we have to unpack them.
Yeah. Wow, Simone, this is some good stuff. So in your book, you talk about doing the work. Yes. What does that mean exactly? I know we've been covering it pretty much since we started the show, but step by step, what does a person have to do to start doing the work?
It means you need to now love yourself enough to be committed to your change and transformation. And so that's what you talked about, people not wanting to do the work on themselves, not wanting to move past this place of pain. You can't just accept this and say, this is just the way I am. It's more than that, right? So when you talk about people like who come to me and talk about they want to be coached, for instance, but if you're not ready for change, if you're like that dog that's just laying on the nail, moaning and complaining, I want change, I'm stuck, I know I'm more than this, I know I'm worth more than this, and I know I'm valued more than this and this and that, but you're not prepared to do what is necessary to get on the other side of stuck. So they may start an initial conversation to be coached. They may have one session or two and come to some breakthrough, and then they quit. It's like me and my lifelong weight management challenges, right? You start, you stop, you start, you stop. You find excuses. You say, I can't afford it, I don't have the time. All of these things to sabotage our efforts to change. And so when you stop working on yourself, this is a line right out of the book. When you stop working on yourself, any progress you crave will also cease.
Wow.
If you don't work on yourself, you will not move ahead. I can tell you that this has been a lifetime journey for me. And up to about 3 years ago, there was still residue in certain areas, and I'll tell you how. So I've been doing this work all this time, figuring out, what my childhood trauma was, how it impacted me, and how it made me relate to men and so forth. I didn't realize how that was impacting me in other arenas other than romance, but it affected me as a leader in my organizations when I worked. So I didn't realize, and someone gave me, I call feedback a gift. And when people give you feedback, consider that them handing you a gift, because it's an insight, it's a revelation that you need to move from where you are to where you want to be. And sometimes, I remember Lisa Nichols saying this, that sometimes it's wrapped in sandpaper, which means that it's going to grate you.
Yeah.
It's going to feel bad. But when you sit in that and get past the initial pain, the sting of it, and you get past being in defense mode, right? Because that's what we do. When we get feedback, we start to blame. We start to say it's somebody else's fault. Well, if that didn't happen, this wouldn't happen. If you didn't do that, I wouldn't have done that. If we get past that and sit in the truth, of that feedback. And I'll give you a quick example in my own life. And like I said, this happened maybe about 3 years ago or something.
Okay.
And I thought that I was so ready for a promotion. And I wasn't getting it. I was doing the work, but I was not getting the external confirmation that you were ready for this job. And I remember one time in a meeting, who would have been my boss, the overall boss of the organization, asked me a question, and he had a way about him that was very abrasive and harsh and actually even rude and sometimes offensive. So that was his personality and his way of communicating. And when he asked me that question, I fumbled in my response. I stuttered. And as you can tell, I have no problem talking. But in that moment, I stuttered and I had a hard time articulating my response to him. And this is in a meeting, open forum. After the meeting, the regional boss that was in town at the time, she said, I want to just share something with you. She said, in that meeting, do you realize what happened? And she coached me through it. She said, you folded up. You couldn't talk. You couldn't. And I had to come and face that reality. Yes, I did. But I had to do the work now in me. Why did I do that? What is causing me to lose confidence in the face of a domineering male?
Wow.
I had to go back 30-something years to when that moment of trauma happened for me.
My God.
And it continued to happen in those relationships that were abusive. And they were relationships that I chose, Michelle. I said yes.
Okay, this is some good stuff. Guys, please like and share this show, especially if you know someone, male or female, that is struggling with self-love. Make sure you like and share the show. They need to hear this. We have to take a quick break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to continue our conversation with the Limitless life coach, Simone Bowe. We're talking about me first, how to love yourself on a deep level, y'all. We ain't talking no surface stuff here. We're talking deep level. And we are going to dive even deeper into the conversation on the other side of the break. So stay with us. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Stress, hats off, looking like I walked out of catalog. Everybody wanna know where I got it from. Catwalk, boutique, where we make fashion statements. Catwalk, boutique, where we make fashion statements.
For the latest styles of women's clothing and accessories, visit Catwalk Boutique on Robertson Road East at the Helron Plaza. At Catwalk Boutique, we make fashion statements.
Looking for an extraordinary junior high school with caring, qualified staff and affordable tuition? Then come visit us at Elite School of Excellence, an affiliate of First Step Academy. ABECA-focused and Ministry of Education approved, we foster discipline, integrity, and wisdom while molding our students for success. Call us at 341-8846 or stop by First Step Academy schools on Fire Trail and Soldy Roads for more information.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
And welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and my guest today is Simone Bowe, the Limitless Life Coach, and we're talking me first, how to love yourself on a deeper level. This is what we're talking about today. Unconditional love for yourself. And so I want to look at a couple of your comments from Facebook. Bertha says, we are afraid of losing things and wondering what people would think or say, but we have to realize no material thing is worth losing our peace of mind. You can easily be replaced. All right, Bertha, thank you so much for that comment. Let's see. Shani says, we have to come to a place where the opinions of others don't matter. People's opinion is simply that, their opinion. It should not have any bearing on who we are as a whole. It's how we see and accept ourselves that matters. Very good stuff, Shani. I always tell the young ladies that I work with in Miss Bahamas that, you know, one of the things that I learned through Pastor Miles Simone, and I know you also spend some time under his teaching, but one of the things that I learned from him is that when you see people who are lashing out at you, as opposed to taking that on and internalizing that and accepting that and their opinion and allowing it to impact how you see yourself, what he taught us is that you look at that person and you try to figure out, well, why are they the way that they are? Not what is wrong with you, but what has happened to you. Because when you can see people in that way, okay, this person clearly is having a challenge. You don't take it personally. You don't allow their challenges to impact you because, as the commenter said, their opinion is theirs. That belongs to them. So you should not allow their opinion, what belongs to them, to impact how you see yourself. Because you have to understand that people are walking wounded and everybody got some kind of baggage. And oftentimes people lash out at others because of their own issues. So as opposed to letting somebody ruin your day, you got to understand where that person is coming from. Pastor Miles always used to put it this way. If somebody has a broken leg, you're not going to get angry at them for limping. You're not going to say, suck it up. Why are you limping? You're going to have sympathy to know this person has a broken leg, so that's why they're limping. So why do we not have the same approach as it relates to mental health? Because a lot of people are limping mentally. You are muted again, Simone. You're muted again.
I muted during your commercial break.
You started to say something.
I think, yes, I think that, oh my goodness, I think that this is so important for us to understand that people project, you know, and we have to take mental and emotional health very, very important, especially during this pandemic. I think it has just magnified the issues that we have. And I've always said that I believe that our country, collectively, we suffer from low self-esteem and low self-worth as a country. Because otherwise, you know, we wouldn't make certain decisions that we make. We wouldn't do certain things that we do if we loved ourselves as a people, Bahamians, right? Residents of this great nation. But I believe that when people have opinions, we have to, even though I said feedback is a gift, Like they say, you take the meat and you leave the bones. You take what you need from it, because sometimes there is truth in it.
Yeah.
But sometimes people are speaking from their own pain.
Yes.
And this is what we call projecting. What they are putting on you is really what gives them their greatest pain. This is why parents do this with their children so much. A lot of times the rules, the lifestyle, the things that they do is based on things that they are running away from.
Yes. And they want to project that on their children.
They project it onto their children.
Mary Beth Jones calls it sharing their cup of pain.
Yes. Yes. So the things that you perhaps did not complete in your life, the things that you are dissatisfied about in your life, the things that you said, I don't ever, and we make these vows, right? I don't ever want to go through this again. And I don't want my children to ever go through this again. And so we now create a value system and a belief system that now impacts generations. And so we now see generational pain. Because that one person in the family line did not do the work to heal. So yes, you may have been jilted. Yes, you may have had a child out of wedlock and all that. Deal with that. So everybody else in your family line doesn't have to deal with that.
Right? Because you could affect generations if you do not do the work.
Absolutely.
Wow. This is important stuff, Simone. Okay, let me go back to a couple more of the comments from Facebook viewers. Shani says, when we take care of ourselves first, it makes it easier for us to then take care of others. Absolutely true. And she goes on to say again, many feel doing our hair and nails or going to the barber is self-care, but those things are all self-maintenance. We should present ourselves. We should presentable ourselves. I don't know what you're trying to say there, but self-care requires inner work.
Self-love requires inner work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And I saw an interesting comment as well. And I want to address that a little bit because I'm actually going to come out with a sequel to the book for men.
Yeah, I think I see the comment right now that
you're talking comment, right? That this is women talk?
Yeah. Boy, this is a problem. It says, Michelle, this is woman talk, so I go on, but before I go, and my young women get nice, whatever. So, see, this is reflecting a real problem we have in this country. And this is why we see so many young men doing the bank lane shuffle, because they think that to deal with your self-love issues is use a sissy to deal with that you're soft. Right. But, a real man don't have to go through all that. So you never do the work.
That's right.
And you're going around doing utter foolishness because, quite frankly, it's cowardice. You think you're such a big, strong man and that's this woman stuff, but you're being a coward because you're not willing to face the pain of looking at yourself.
That's right.
How do you respond to that kind of comment, Simone? And unfortunately, that person may be gone already, which is unfortunate.
It is unfortunate, and that's why I wanted to highlight it, because this isn't a woman thing. This isn't a female thing to be in touch with yourself.
My God.
It's a human thing. Remember the second call of the gentleman who said, I am trying to get into a relationship. So people already will say, well, men don't want to commit. Men don't want to do this. And if he's still single, people probably look at him like, oh, he must have a problem. They look at people who are still single, women and men. You must have a problem. You must be broken. You must have something wrong with you or whatever. When no, I actually know myself. And I'm not going to settle for something less than what I know I want to live with for the rest of my life. I'm in touch with myself. And I am looking for someone who is also in touch with themselves.
Yeah. You're singing my song.
Yes. How are you?
Because
Go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, how are you going to have the really important conversations if you can't start there? How are you going to talk about money? How are you going to talk about raising children? How are you going to talk about making significant investments? How are you going to talk about estate planning? Like, what's going to happen if either one of us gets so ill that we can't take care of ourselves and you need to make decisions on my behalf? How do we have these very critical conversations that can break relationships up? If you don't know who you are and you don't know what you're about, you're just pretending so that you can nab somebody and get married. We have to get beyond this shallow existence.
My God. My God. See, you speak in my language, Simone, because, people would say, oh, why you never get married? And, I'm like, you know what? Why is it that you think that something is wrong if I am happy within who I am? Maybe if I was one of those people who spend nights crying because, I've always been, I was raised to be a strong individual. I was raised to understand that I have self-worth. And and obviously a part of my history is that I didn't grow up with a father in the home. My parents separated when I was a baby, so I didn't see my mother in that role. And I'm sure that had a lot to do with shaping my viewpoint to that as well. Mm-hmm. But I didn't grow up thinking that my life was not complete if that did not happen.
Yep.
And so I often encounter people, and some men who have the attitude of, well, you should be happy that I check in for you. And I'm like, why you think you're the prize? I hate to put it this way, but why you think that you saw all of that I should be happy that you trying to get with me? You a little confused, buddy. But again, it goes back to when you have that full understanding of who you are, mm-hmm. and not being willing to just be in a bad relationship just to say you in a relationship. To me, that is worse than being alone.
It is.
Because at least alone, I'm happy. Now, I'm not saying that I can't be happy in a relationship, but I can't see me sacrificing my happiness to be in a bad relationship just to say I in a relationship. To me, that never made sense.
It doesn't make sense. And so many people are living that life and that lie. Yeah.
It reminds me of a comedian I saw once on television. I thought it was so funny. She said, all the single ladies in the house say, hey. So all the single women were like, hey. So then she was like, listen to y'all trying to sound all happy. He's like, I can hear y'all now. But when you're 20, you got this long list of what you want in a man. He got to be rich. He got to have a house in the hills. He got to be driving a Bentley. He got to have this and have the next. She said, and then 10 years go by. And you're like, okay, well, maybe he don't need to have a house in the hills. And maybe he don't need to have a Bentley. And another 10 years. Job, Lord. Just let him have a job, right? She said, after she finished with the single women, she's like, okay, all the married women in the house say, hey. So all the married women were like, hey. She said, listen to y'all trying to sound all happy. And then she goes on, I can hear y'all now. Y'all so miserable with that man. You're walking out, you're trying to smile and sound like you're all happy and everything. But inside you're saying, how long I got to put up with this man, Lord? How long? And so her point was, ain't nobody happy. Everybody trying to pretend and trying to be like, oh, this is so grand. My married life is so wonderful. But behind them doors, you catching eternal hell. And I'm not saying that that's the case for everybody. Some people do have happy marriages.
People are happy.
So, the thing is, the point is, and I thought she did it brilliantly. But the point is, you got to find that happiness in whatever circumstance you find yourself in.
That's right.
Because if you are looking, and again, the show ain't about marriage, but if you are looking as that is the end goal, to be married, to be happy, and then you get in this marriage and you realize because you didn't do the work on yourself, that you still ain't happy, then what? Then what? So you got to do the work on yourself so that you are happy in whatever circumstance you find yourself in. And when you do that, and when you become that whole human being, then you could welcome another whole human being into your circle. And the two of you whole human beings will become one. I think a part of our problem is that we have a lot of people who aren't whole, and they're looking for somebody else to complete them. Now, I know how we get on this topic.
Because we needed to be here.
But this is the problem. This is the problem. So you have to find a way to find happiness, and no matter what circumstance you find yourself in. I love my own company. I don't get bored. Well, a part of the reason is because I got so much going on. And
you're purposeful.
What you were talking about earlier in terms of filling your life with so much, you ain't got time to think about all of that.
No, but you're purposeful.
Extremely driven. I know where I want to go in life. And so I don't have time to be feeling sorry for myself or, oh, how come? And I'm not going to lie. When I was 29, hitting 30, oh my God, I made some of the stupidest decisions in my life because I was panicking about turning 30.
Oh my God.
I'm turning 30. If I could talk to myself as a 30-year-old from me being today a 57-year-old, I'd be like, girl, sit down and relax yourself. It ain't that serious. You know what I mean? Because we make, and different people go through that in different points in their lives, but people make some stupid decisions because they're allowing society to pressure them into making these decisions to fit in with society. And then society in the house with you.
Oh.
So you got to get to the point where you love yourself enough that you are comfortable and happy in whatever circumstance you find yourself in. Then and only then are you ready to pour yourself into a relationship. Because if you are not a whole person and you start pouring out, what gonna be left?
Nothing much.
Nothing
and
much.
You know, when we put pressure on that person, God help them, because now we putting pressure on them to keep filling you up.
Exactly.
That's not their role.
That's not their job, people. That's not their job. And I know marriage counsel or nothing, but I think that this is one of the reasons why a lot of marriages don't work, because you go in not as a whole person and you expecting this person to fill you, and that's exhausting.
It's exhausting. I was just going to say, it's too much work. It's too much work.
So you got to put in the work, people. You got to do. Now, another thing that you talk about in this book is setting boundaries.
Ooh, yes.
How important is it, and what does that mean exactly, to set boundaries?
So, as I reference in the book, and just a heads up, that echo is back.
Oh boy.
But a lot of times we look at boundaries as negative things. It has a negative connotation, because when we think boundary, that we think that we're cutting people off or we're doing things to keep people away from us, right? But boundaries is a mode of protection. It's a mode of communicating our value to others. And it's a way that we also respect other people's values. So I'll explain. So when people establish their boundaries with you, right? So I'll say, for instance, like I'm one of those friends who will be chronically late, right? And this is something that I'm working on and really doing better at timing and all of that stuff. But if I have a friend, and I do have friends this way, who would establish boundaries with me in that regard, with regard to time. So if there's a deadline that I have to meet, or if we have a meetup or something, they may say, well, I need it in X period of time, because this particular boundary protects me, right? So for instance, I have an online radio show as well. So I have to record my shows remotely, and then I have to upload them to the station. And so sometimes I don't have my shows ready in time for that station to do the edits and the work that they need to do to the show, to upload the show to the station. And so the station created a boundary and said, I need the show, I needed 24 to 48 hours before airing so that I can do X, Y, Z. That's a boundary. It's an expectation that respects what they have going on because they know what their schedule is all about. And it clearly communicates to me what they need. And so it's the same way. And this is why, again, when some of us get into self-sabotage and not loving ourselves, we get into people pleasing. So we find it hard to create boundaries, to tell people no. And we just, because we want to fit in, we want to belong, we want to be loved, we want to be affirmed, we want to be accepted. And so we feel that by establishing boundaries, that it's going to cost us that relationship. And this can be not just romantic relationships. This could be at work. How many of you work with people, and maybe even a boss, that continues to pile work on you or to give unrealistic deadlines and things like that, or have this expectation that you should answer emails or answer your phone when you're on vacation or after hours? Who gets those 2 a.m. work emails and there's this expectation that you should respond to that notification at 2 a.m.? Yeah, this is real life. So when we establish boundaries, we now begin to communicate our value, our sense of self-worth to other people. We then say, I will respond during working hours. I will do X, Y, Z here. This is how I would like to complete this. This is how, if you can't make it on time to our lunch, is there a better day, a better time? Should we reschedule? Because this now communicates that, hey, I really don't have time to wait 45 minutes for you to show up. Or if you show up, just know that if our lunch was supposed to start at 1 and we have this lunch date from 1 to 2:30, and you show up at 1:45, I'm still leaving at 2:30.
Yeah, you just lost some of your time.
You lost some of that time.
Wow. Good stuff. Let's go to a couple comments from our Facebook viewers. So Kayanique is enjoying the show. She says, powerful words of wisdom. Thank you,
Kayanique.
Sapphire says, yes, I'm a strong individual with high self-worth. And Claudette says, I am so happy being single and taking care of me. And, there's some, for those of us who are very much into, for those of us who are into the word and all this kind of, stuff, there were some notable people in the Bible who never went down that path, who were complete within themselves and decided not to go down that path. First and foremost, there's Jesus Christ. And then you look at even Apostle Paul, never married. So, it bothers me when I see people, and young women especially, feeling less than because nobody has chosen them. I'm like, girl, catch yourself. It ain't that serious. You are a beautiful, accomplished, intelligent person, and anybody who gets you will get a catch. So don't ever think of yourself any less than, because that has not happened in your life as yet. And, I do believe that we attract what we put out there. And so you have to be very careful of the vibe that you put into the universe, and you don't attract all of the bad stuff, because that is how you are seeing and feeling about yourself. That is
socialization.
Yes.
It's how we're socialized to believe that a part of our completion as human beings, because men have the pressure too, when you get married, right? When you're going to have children, because Childlessness is another whole conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that if you don't bear a child from your womb, that something is wrong with you, right? And we have to begin to start to challenge some of these belief systems and traditions that you can't be happy if you're single. You can't be happily married without children in your relationship. I know couples who are married and they have no children. I know couples who are married who have adopted, or who do IVF, or who do surrogacy. I mean, the point of the matter is, when you love yourself and when you live this limitless life that we have all been gifted with, there are many, many roads to happiness and fulfillment.
We have a caller on the line. Let's go to the phone lines and then we'll take our next break. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
And hi to your guests. What a wonderful show today.
Thank you.
I am happy I was able to be one of your listeners, to share this show even before it started. Why, Michelle? Because that's how powerful. Well, if I had to use 3 words to describe this show: honest, integrity, truthful. Now I'll add S, which is hits. Your shows are hits because they're powerful. And by the way, you are beautiful again, as usual, looking lovely.
Thank you.
But your guest, Michelle, she is like this bright light. And I like to use you and her as in this way, because light travels faster than sound. So I wish for you ladies to continue to be that light, okay, that have traveled long and reached the destination that you desire before your sound was made. Now, my name is Amos Junior Miller. I'm not perfect, but I believe in the creator of the universe. And when the oneness I found or fell in love with as relates to myself was when I focused on the Most High. And I realized the things I had, I was in the millionaire status, and I just gave it up. And people to this day, going for 12 years, cannot comprehend. There are something more valuable, Michelle, than things. It's called life. And the most valuable thing a person have or possess is life. And there should never comes a time in any human's life where things comes or they are placed in a position where things are placed before them to choose over a life, or especially their life. And the Creator planned for family was male and female to have godly children benefiting from his sovereign, natural, universal, natural resources, so they can become this light, this beautiful light on a hill, glorifying him in spirit and in truth. And so your show continues to hit the ball out of the park. Excuse my expression, ladies. Have a blessed day, Michelle. GPS has more than one home, and for sure has a new home. Have a great day now.
Thank you so much for calling, Amos. I appreciate the support. Simone, I don't know if there's anything in there that you wanted to respond to.
Well, I want to say thank you, first of all, for very kind words. I really appreciate that. And I never thought about that. Light travels faster than sound. That's very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And it speaks to what you said before. What you put out, the vibe that you give off, it comes from the inside.
Yeah.
And that is our light. And so it doesn't matter what you say. It matters what you project. Because what you put out there is going to come out of your mouth anyway.
Yes. But the Bible tells you, as a man thinketh,
So is he.
That's where it starts. It
And
starts.
Out of the abundance of your heart.
Yes.
Speak.
Yes. Yes. And people need to realize this. Now, what you put in words really makes your reality. But those words, I always say, begin with a thought. So you got to clean up the thinking. You got to get rid of the stinking thinking. And you have to understand that it is not your responsibility to buy the lies of the enemy. And the enemy comes through people. He doesn't show up with the pitchfork and the horns and say, hi, I'm the devil, and this is the message I got. No. He bringing that message through some people that you, closest to you, people that you know and love.
That's right.
And it is your job to identify that and not allow that to stick, not allow it to take root within your spirit to the point where you now start to believe those lies. Because let's face it, the enemy doesn't know anything about truth. There's no truth in him.
No.
And I always tell people, and we could talk about this on the other side of the break, if you want to measure how you should really be thinking about yourself, check what God has to say about you. And if the messaging is coming to you separate and apart and different from that message, then you know that that is a lie. Because God can't lie. So if the message that you're receiving, whether it be from a loved one or your own mind, is saying anything less than what God thinks of you, you know it's a lie. And you got to get to the place where you identify that as a lie and cast it out. Don't let it take root. Stop buying the lies. Stop buying the lies, people. We got to take a break. We're 6 minutes past where we're supposed to have taken a break. So let's take this quick commercial break. And then when we come back, we're going to wrap this whole thing. Wrap this whole thing up. We're talking to the Limitless life coach, Simone Bowe, today about me first. How to love yourself on a deeper level, unconditionally. Stay with us.
Ocean blue is the best in seafood, hey. Fresh out the water and affordable too, yeah. We got fish, conch, lobster, shrimp, everything you want, Ocean Blue got it. Ocean Blue, friendly and clean, best service you ever seen. Ocean Blue is the best in seafood, hey. Fresh out the water and affordable too, hey. Ocean Blue Seafood, we are here for you. Ocean Blue Seafood, no one else will do. Ocean Blue Seafood, located on Burnett Road. Contact us at 393-2160.
Escape from the city life to Bacon Air Beach Resort in Piratesville, Mayaguana. Relax in one of 16 air-conditioned rooms just steps away from the ocean. Enjoy scrumptious dishes in our waterfront dining room. Sip on a tropical cocktail, or if you must, stay connected with wireless internet. Nestled on one of the most beautiful beaches in the Bahamas, Bacon Air Beach Resort offers a unique vacation experience. For reservations, call 339-3726 or 463-0182.
At the Shirley Street Plaza, you'll find Le Petit Gourmet, a small cafe that's big on flavor. Handcrafted delights made with love will not only please your palate, but feed your soul. Call us at 394-1251. 8 to 12 minutes is all it takes for a burglar to rob your home or business. Security Systems International provides professional and affordable solutions for both. Call 396-5000 for your customized quote. Gwen's Alterations provides professional services for all your tailoring needs, including face masks to keep you safe and in style. A stitch in time saves 9. So call us today at 393-6227.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all. Schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and today I am chatting with the Limitless life coach, Simone Bowe, and we're talking about me first. How to love yourself deeply and unconditionally so that you can then turn around and love others deeply and unconditionally. But it all starts with you. Now, one of the areas of your book talks about living in purpose, because we can't have, Amos touched on it in his call, but you can't understand how to love yourself, I believe, fully, unless you are connected to your source. And that's where purpose comes in. Tell us what you were thinking when you decided to include that section in the book about purpose. You got to make sure you unmute your mic.
The whole show. And you usually have these other problems of not muting yourself when you need to. But I think that it's so important to understand the importance of your purpose and the importance not only of it to you, but to the people that you are called to. And so when you love yourself fully, deeply, authentically, you will live. And this sounds very much like motivational speaker cliche, but it is so true. You will live full out. As you would say, live out loud. You would do the things that even you are afraid of. You will do the things that you were called to do. Because to do anything less is doing yourself a disservice, and you are doing others a disservice. Mm-hmm. The Bible tells us that the earth is groaning, waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. I believe that scripture tells us that there are things in this world that is incomplete because you have not shown up yet.
Wow.
There are solutions in you that problems are waiting on. There are answers in you that people are waiting on. And when you refuse to do it because of all of the various reasons that we would have talked about in the last 90 minutes, the limiting beliefs, the fear, the self-sabotage, the procrastination, worrying about other people's opinions, not doing the work on ourselves, staying in our place of pain, feeling that we're not broken when we are, bleeding on the people that didn't cut us. When we do all of these things, it keeps us further and further away from the true reason why we exist. Having relationships and children and all of those things is gravy. That's the whipped cream and the cherry on top of the ice cream. The real reason that we have been sent to this planet is to fulfill a call that is tied to the greater plan of God for the universe. And you know, that was really one of the most compelling reasons for me to walk away from a life that I had built from I was 23 years old, even before then, because we had a long ongoing situationship. Mm-hmm. But the crux of the matter, the most compelling reason for me to walk away from that life was I did not feel that I was able to fulfill my purpose while in that relationship. And for me, my purpose was the driving factor. And that's to say, can you be purposeful and in a relationship? Absolutely. Can you be a purposeful parent? Absolutely. Can you be a purposeful entrepreneur? Yes, you can. But your purpose is the core of who you are. And so when you love yourself, you honor your purpose by living it.
I like how you put it, because Pastor Miles always used to say that the graveyard is the richest place on earth, because so many people died and took to their graves all of the cure to diseases and all of the answers to the questions were taken with them because they never lived out their purpose. So with that in mind, how important is it that you do not diminish your purpose to fit in to what you believe is somebody else's image of you? How dangerous is that to diminish who you are to fit in with somebody else?
Yeah. And that is one of our other fears. Marianne Williamson shared it in that very famous poem now. And he said that I'm paraphrasing, the thing that we are running from is our very greatness. The fact that we are great, the fact that we have power. That's why I've stopped using empowerment programs, empowerment events and things in my stuff, because I've realized that we've made that to be conditional, that someone can give us power. Coming to my event is not going to give you power. You came to my event with power.
Wow, Simone. You just got to tap into it. You got to realize it's there.
That's it.
Wow.
That's it. And so we can't keep running away from this thing because of, other people's image of us. I can't tell you the mistakes that I've made, even in relationships, because people look at me a certain way and they would feel, well, you should be with a certain type. You should live a certain lifestyle. You should be a certain way. At the end of the day, you have to be happy with yourself.
Yes.
You have to be true to yourself.
Yeah.
And true to the calling that is on your life, not about some image and all the other expectations that people would have of you. Because at the end of the day, where are they coming from with that?
You know how difficult it is or would be to try to live a life of pretending to be what you're not? Do you know how exhausting that is?
Just tiring.
That got to be tiring, Simone.
Because you're not being real.
Trying to keep up this appearance of being this particular thing that you're not. That gotta be so exhausting.
It is exhausting. And again, this is why people run away from it. They're running away from the lie. They finally come to the realization that I cannot do this anymore. This is why people get divorced after 30 plus years of marriage.
And you're saying to yourself, well, my God, y'all been together how long? You might
as well stick it out.
Right?
But they realize, you know what? Even if I only got like 15, 20 more years of life to live, I want to live that in my truth. Not with that miserable person. Wow. And it's the same thing. People will walk away from a job. People will walk away from a career. Why do people, they have these stellar careers and then you see them off somewhere in some jungle doing community service or painting or farming. And it's not to degrade any of these professions, but it is that I am finally living my life.
Your true north.
Not the life that somebody else felt that I should have. Not the life that I even looked at and figured, maybe this would get me out of this funk that I feel. Having a lot of money, having status, having people respect me, having a door with my name, a wall with my name on it, thinking that these things would be enough when they are not enough to fill that void in your life.
Wow.
And having the courage to let go the attachment that you have to the illusion of what you thought your life ought to be.
That's powerful.
Gee.
That is powerful, Simone. I'm gonna go to a couple of our comments from our Facebook viewers. Claudette says, very powerful. I'm really enjoying this show. Thank you so much, Claudette, for tuning in. And please like and share the show because people need to hear this, y'all.
Yes.
People need to hear this. Kayanik says, Simone Elbow, I think I found my therapist. Laugh out loud. I'm going to give Simone an opportunity before the show ends to talk about how you can reach her if you so desire to do so. Kwana says, this is good. This is good stuff, ladies. Thank you, Kwana. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, people need to come to the realization that, you know, it's just so much easier to just be who you are. It's like people who are pathological liars. Once you start telling a lie, then you got to maintain that lie. So you got to create lies and create this whole reality. And you got to have a real good memory to keep up with this lie. When it's just so much easier to tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Because you ain't got to remember all of that. You ain't got to do all that stress and try to remember, okay, what did I say and how did I say it and who did I say it to? And just tell the truth.
Tell the truth, man.
That's so easy because you ain't got to remember nothing. Just tell the truth. And the same thing applies to when we're talking about understanding who we are. Be honest with yourself. Tell the truth to yourself. Because I tell you what, it's bad enough when you lying to somebody else, but when you start lying to yourself,
you're in trouble.
This is not a good thing.
You're in trouble.
You're in trouble.
It's going to implode. You can't sustain that. And some people do it for years and years and years.
Yes.
But then what's the result at the end of the day? That you live a miserable life and that you're miserable to the people around you and that you impact generations with your misery, with your pain, with the fact that you are lying to yourself all this time. And this is why, again, we pass on certain things about family and relationships and money and career and work and faith and all of these things because we have not faced our truth. We've not faced the fact that, maybe I'm afraid. Maybe I didn't go after that opportunity because I was afraid that I would fail. Just be honest with that. And when I coach people, I always say, being where you are is the first step toward change, and understanding where you are, embracing where you are is the first step to know that you're ready. Because when you can finally admit, I am here, just like that red dot on the mall directory. I love to use that as an example. I am here. But that doesn't mean that that's your final destination. Being stuck is not a destination.
True.
Mentality. So you can do whatever it takes to get unstuck. Where do you want to go? That's the question that you have to ask now. Where do I want to go? And then how do I now close that gap between where I am now and where I want to be? That's when you face the truth. You gotta have a plan.
You gotta have a plan. Otherwise, you're just drifting.
And you can be flexible with the plan. There's no need to say that the plan is set in stone and in concrete, that you can't change the plan. Sometimes we create monuments around these plans and we say, well, I made this vow. Like you said, by the time you're 30, that I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that.
And just made the stupidest decisions because you got putting that kind of pressure on yourself. Girl,
let it go. Let it go. You have the power to change that vow you made to yourself.
Yes. Okay, so I want to read one more comment and then I'm going to give you an opportunity to tell people how they can reach out to you. So Shani says, we have to be okay with being ourselves because everyone else is taken.
Yes.
And one thing I want to point out to you guys, when you think about let's use the entertainment as an example. When you look at the persons who have been the most successful entertainers of all time, they weren't trying to copy anybody else. Michael Jackson was an original. and original people today. He died the same year as my mother, 2009. They both left this earth. It's now 2021, and people still dressing up like Michael Jackson and trying to do the kick and all
Trying to
that.
dance like him.
Still trying to be him or like him, right? And he's just one of many, many examples. The most powerful people are the ones who have discovered who they are and who are relishing in that knowledge, not trying to be like anybody else. I don't want to be the next Oprah. I want to be the best Michelle.
That's right.
And it is people who have come to that knowledge understanding who go on to change the world. Yes. Really. Because they ain't trying to be nobody else. They just doing what they supposed to do, walking along the path that was created for them to walk. Because we all came, if you made it to planet Earth, there's purpose in your life. You just got to find it. But if you made it here, you came here for a reason. You ain't just show up on planet Earth to eat, sleep, and die. You're here for a reason. So it's your responsibility to find out what that reason is and then spend the rest of your days living it out. Simone, we only got 4 minutes left in the show, darling. So tell people where they can reach you, where they can find the book, all of that good stuff.
Yes, so you can find me on social media. I am on Facebook as Simone L. Bowe, the Limitless Life Coach.
And that's Simone with one M. Simone with one M.
Two M's.
Okay.
Yes. Middle initial L. So SIMMONE.
Okay.
LBOWE. My contact information is there. My telephone number, 825-5357. My email, let's connect at at the limitlesslifecoachingco.com. And there's also a link there if you'd like to set up a complimentary, what I call a discovery call. So you get a 15-minute conversation to talk about your high level pain point or desire. And there's no obligation. Maybe it'll give you the clarity you need to move forward. Maybe you just need someone to talk to. You can just click that link. And I assure you, most times we go over 15 minutes. I'm also on Instagram and LinkedIn and Twitter, and you can always send me a direct message on any of those platforms, and I'm more than happy to respond. The book right now is available on Amazon as a Kindle. I'm working on getting that print available through Amazon, but I do have some print copies here in New Providence. So if you're here on the island or if you're on another island and you'd like me to get it to you, I certainly can do that as well. And so I want to say thank you, Michelle, for this opportunity, for creating this platform and for loving yourself enough to extend to me, because when you love yourself, you're not in competition, but we are always collaborating and complementing each other. And so I appreciate that gesture that you have extended to me today.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to accept the invitation because I know you got a lot going on. So thank you, Simone, for dropping these nuggets of wealth of information that you dropped today. I know a lot of people are going to be impacted by this show, not just those who watched it live, but those who will watch it later on. And I want to thank you for being obedient to the call in your life and for living out your purpose. Because you know what? When we all do that, then the world will be, and I know this sounds like a cliche, but truly the world will be such a better place, because then all of the needs will be met, all of the holes will be filled if everybody understood who they are and did their part, do what you were designed to do, and fulfill the reason why you were sent to Earth. Man, this Earth would be so much better, so much a better place to live. So let's all make it our life's mission to find out what that is for us and then live it out. Take up space, live out loud. Simone, love you, girl. Thank you so much.
Love you too.
For being here on GPS. We're going to talk soon.
All right.
All right. Have a good day. Guys, that's my time. I want to thank all of you for tuning in today. Tomorrow is going to be an interesting show. We have two powerhouses coming on the show tomorrow. We're going to be talking about our economic state in this country. You don't want to miss the show tomorrow, y'all. It's going to be very, very good. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for joining us on GPS Global Paradigm Shift today. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good afternoon.
Glory 93.